I bought this lot about 20 years ago, 50 years ago. All the records are HMV black label. Some are single-sided, some are double-sided. I probably paid about 50p, I guess. It was a long time ago. And I hardly ever play them. For obvious reasons. Because they're pretty terrible to listen to. So if I have a look at the first one. They're mostly, did I just say they're mostly piano music. This one's Marche, Militaire, Schubert, played by Mr Hambourg, and Polonaise in A major by Chopin, Mr Hambourg again. Oh, the next one is Prelude in D major played by Mr Hambourg. That's Bach. Bach again, Mr Hambourg, Fugue in D major. Anyway, I'll play the Marche Militaire. Now Mr Hambourg, he wrote a little article in Gramophone magazine, actually in the very, very first Gramophone magazine, which I have here, or at least a bound copy of it. He's got some very interesting things to say. And we'll have a look at that now. Here we are, the Gramophone magazine, April 1923, issue 1, page 5. An article by Mr Hambourg on piano recording. And he says here, even now pianoforte records are not all good. They vary tremendously. And sometimes they are still disappointing. But this is not, I imagine, the fault of the gramophone recording instrument. It lies rather in the shortcomings of the piano itself, which is mechanically imperfect and suffers very much from overtones, which are difficult to get rid of on the recording machine. The gramophone, on the other hand, is most exact and reproduces without any palliative precisely everything that it hears. Moreover, this exactitude of the reproduction turns playing for recording purposes into a nerve-wracking occupation. Well, I think today we would regard that as being outright wrong. I mean, it's the flipping piano sounds like a piano, and that's it. It's the gramophone recording machine that's rubbish. Before I play the record, I'll just mention something about how much the record cost when it was new, and a little bit about the recording process. Well, this is a price list from 1926. The record was recorded before 1923. I'm not exactly sure when, but I don't suppose the price in 1926 was much different to 1923. And a black label double-sided record, serial letter D, is 6 shillings and 6 pence, or 6 and 6pence. I put that into an inflation calculator, and that works out at £17 in today's money. So records were bloomin' expensive back in the day. Never mind the red label, the buff label, and the white label, 16 shillings. God, blimey O'Reilly. That's an awful lot of money for just a few minutes. As far as how it was recorded goes, this is the closest thing I could find, but this is from about 30 years earlier. This is from the 1890s, using a phonograph cylinder. The actual horn arrangement is probably not that much different. I had a look at this book, The Manual of Analogue Sound Restoration Techniques by Peter Copeland, and he's got a little bit in there about how records are recorded acoustically. And he says that at the HMV studio, he had a selection of horns, including a Type 01. And the Type 01 had a flared end which pointed downwards. And that was intended for use with a grand piano. Well, that sounds like the sort of thing they would have used for this record. Well, this is my old faithful HMV 163. And there's the microphone. Now the sound we'll get out of this is probably about as good as you could expect back in 1920 something. Oh, it's a steel needle. Oops. I tried using a fibre needle, but they don't last to the end. Oops.